Hey, what's going on everyone? So I ended up purpling Squall. If you're interested in what the Solitary Lion does and what he can provide to a team, stick around and find out. Squall is a fairly simple damage dealer who can put out high numbers against both a single target and against a group. He doesn't do a lot besides that, but with his new weapons, he does a pretty good job at it. His skill 1 is Solid Barrel. 3 single target brave hits into 1 group hit into a single target HP hit if he has at least 80% max bravery. Under certain conditions, this skill is enhanced to its plus form, which gives it another hit, higher potency, overflow, and guaranteed HP conversion. No matter which form is used, it grants Squall Solitary Lion, which raises his attack, max bravery, initial bravery, and makes his base skills always do their plus forms. Solitary Lion also enhances his basic attacks, granting his Brave plus more hits and a group attack, and HP plus a Brave hit and splash damage. His skill 2 is Renzo Kuken, a 3-hit attack with an HP hit that deals 50% splash damage. The plus form of this attack deals 6 hits and will deal full damage to all enemies, and both forms grant Squall a small generic max brave and attack buff. His EX is Assault Trigger, a very basic 8 single target hits into an HP conversion. It grants Squall Lionheart, a unique stacking buff that at max 3 stacks grants him 60% attack and 40% max bravery. For better and for worse, his EX plus limit breaks essentially just double down on his offenses, a bit of a reminder in how old his EX plus is, coming from the first month of Chaos. Realization gives it 150% overflow. That's it, that's really it. 1 ingot is a recast speed upgrade and 2 more turns on Lionheart after using Assault Trigger. 2 ingots gives him starting Lionheart, as well as having the EX cast give him Lionheart level 3. 3 ingots gives the EX cast a double cast effect, turning it into 6 brave hits into HP, followed by 8 brave hits, followed by HP. It's very nice seeing him hit for so high on both casts, but the limit breaks as a whole do show just how rather lackluster it is due to age. Thankfully, Squall got the first LD and it helps him out a fair bit and just makes him stronger overall. The LD grants him Rough Divide, a group attack that deals 8 hits before an HP dump with 80% splash to the other targets. It grants him Solitary Lion, but also grants him a new unique effect in Roaring Hammer, which raises his attack and overflow based on the level, with level 3 Roaring Hammer granting 60% attack and 30% overflow. The LD passive itself also further enhances his basic attacks, adding a second group hit to his Brave 2+, and 2 more hits to his HP 2+. It also grants him the rest of his buffs at the start of the fight, meaning he no longer has to worry about slightly awkward first turns due to not having Solitary Lion. And as the cherry on top, he also gets another 60% attack from it. What Squall lacks is any sense of complexity, which for some people may actually be a benefit. The only things to really keep track of on Squall are his Solitary Lion buff and Roaring Hammer. Besides that, you're just asking the man to do damage. He has space for 4 buffs since his generic buffs aren't very strong, so he'll benefit from anything offensive: attack, max bravery, regen, even an enchant. He actually got a rework in Japan the other month that, like all reworks, makes his base kit more effective. Both forms of Solid Barrel deal a single target HP hit before the group attack, with the side targets getting 50% splash of the total HP damage. Renzo, meanwhile, finally gets base overflow, which coupled with Roaring Hammer and new high armor effects means the man will be hitting for even higher damage with it now. Speaking of Roaring Hammer, that brings us to his LD, or rather his LD extension. Similar to the C55 and C60 passives as well as the EX+, LDs in the future get an extension. This is located in their character board as a 4th path and costs an extra 3,000 points to fully unlock, meaning future character boards cost 8,000 points instead of 5,000. If you're wondering how to get Rough Divide to have orange text and match the rest of his abilities, this is how. Squall's LD Extend does 2 things. The less interesting part is it makes Rough Divide even stronger, grants Squall 1 stack of Roaring Hammer at the start of the fight, and adds 20% to all of Squall's damage. More interestingly, however, is that while Roaring Hammer is up, Squall basically does a follow-up Rough Divide after almost every single HP attack. It is weaker and has less splash, but still. Instead of giving the man an extra gimmick, they basically double down on his damage. As long as it's not in a launch and not the burst finisher, if it does HP damage, he'll do a follow-up Rough Divide. His damage per turn becomes insane. So yeah, that's Purple Squall. Like I said, he's not a very complex character. His LD makes him hit better, faster, and his rework and LD extension in the future have him do all that even better. While he may not be the biggest or most versatile damage unit in Global, just the fact that he has an LD puts him in another league in terms of his power and longevity. I wouldn't consider him quite at the top of damage units looking at him holistically, and as I said, he's very simple, unlike other melee damage units who can do things like enemy control or some sort of debuffing, but he deserves special consideration because he has an LD. If you lucked into it, congratulations! The next time Squall LD will be available is when they refresh the Start Dash banner, which will include his burst as well as the full kits for Cloud and Lightning, and this is the same time he gets his rework and they get their LD extensions. It starts around the same time as a bunch of other good banners, but the LD and burst rates should be higher in comparison to normal banners. Hopefully you enjoyed this breakdown of full kit, sans burst, Squall, and a look into what he has coming in the future. If you enjoyed this video and want to see others like it or other videos about Opera Omnia, stick around and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.